Hey everybody, how we doing? This is Michael,
Hello, hello.
obviously Shahar as well. So we wanted to do a quick little video to tell you about an upcoming workshop that Shahar and I are putting together. It's going to be an introductory course to Qigong and how we can use it as a life tool to recognize and balance both ourselves as well as our emotions. We recognize, especially today in the chaos that is the world, we can all feel a little bit out of balance. And so Shahar and I really wanted to do our best to put together something that we can offer to you that can be fun and informative at the same time.
Beautiful. And more on that specifically, this is also a practical way of doing that. That's the thing that why I like working with Michael and the way we teach in this specific program, it is very practical. Like it's not about somewhere in the air you need to feel better about yourself. No, this is about recognizing emotions where they are in your body and how to balance them within your body while you're living and moving from one life experience to another life experience, which is life, right? Moving from a state of being asleep to being awake to getting up to showering. All these are events that are happening in your life, and you're going through this sometimes a torrent of emotions, and we can show you how to balance them through the amazing old tool of Qigong and also yoga. Because this whole thing, Michael, of course, going to be in a yoga retreat, which is really amazing. Not only a yoga retreat, this is a old school ashram. And when I say old school, I mean old school. The whole place is run by monks, or they call it swamis. And it's been run by monks since the 70s by Swami Vishnu Devananda, who came all the way from India, from Rishikesh to Canada. From Canada, started spreading, and from Swami Vishnu to Swami Sopananda to Swami Vamananda, Swami Vamananda, and all those wonderful, amazing Swamis. And Swami Vishnu came from Swami Shivananda, so very, very old lineage, very, very powerful. And I just described it to some of my students today. I said in Nassau, Bahamas, in a specific little island. It's like an atomic bomb of spirituality exploded there, and you come into that place and you just feel it. You feel I'm home. Everything there is very natural. And me and Michael, we talk about the elements a lot when we teach Qigong, when we work together. And you know that feeling when you step onto the ocean in the Bahamas, for example, and the perfect beach is leveled. The water is beautifully calm and blue and teal, even. The sky is sitting proper. The sun is not blasting, but it's properly balanced. There's gentle clouds in the air, and you feel at peace. That moment of feeling of peace is not by coincidence. That's when all the elements of nature are playing balance together. And that is very naturally pleasant for us as human beings. So when we live in that perfectly balanced state of nature, so not too much fire, not too much water and lowering in our own emotions, not too much air and in the air, not in overthinking and absent-minded, not too grounded and rigid and like that. We are in a state of balance. We are very naturally in a pleasant and a balanced state of mind. And we do that through our Qigong, through this workshop, through this immersion workshop. And Michael is lending us his beautiful, beautiful brain that help us dive not only to the practice of it, but also the understanding and deep understanding of what we're doing and why. So, Michael, how about you share a little bit about kind of your perspective about what we're doing?
Yes, I think Shahar said it great. When we talk about balance, I'm an LCSW in the state of Florida who's been doing private practice therapy for quite some time and figuring out a way to really blend these ancient arts and the practice of Qigong and yoga, has a certain crossover into some of the things that I do within my practice, right? So using things such as somatics, feeling your emotions, recognizing your emotions, where they manifest within your body Some of these skills are really great for stress management, grounding, when we feel out of balance and we feel out of our space, really being able to learn how to lean into your breath and lean into these motions to feel just an inner calm. So, not only is this a great opportunity to go to the Bahamas and enjoy the experience of figuring out what balance is, but these are lessons that, in tandem with some of the theories of therapy, you can take with you throughout your everyday life. When we feel stressed, when we feel down, when we feel angry, when we feel stuck, we can really recognize and utilize some of these motions and these movements to really feel a sense of ourselves again. Right? We always like to say that when everything seems out of control, the thing that you always can control is your movements and your breath.
Beautiful, beautiful. Now, let's talk a little more logistics about the program itself. We're going to meet in the Shivananda Ashram, and you can see it in the comments and the description. All the information is there. In the Shivananda Ashram in the Bahamas, Nassau, Bahamas. I'm going to gather there probably around the 11th of March. Me and Michael are giving a lecture. And then on the 12th is going to be the beginning of the workshop. We're going to meet every morning to do Qigong on the beach and meditation. We'll start with a very deep practice. And then there's going to be a break, and yeah, everything is included in this program, of course. Your meals, your stay, everything is right there. And we're gonna practice, we're gonna eat, we're gonna workshop together again for a couple of hours, and then we're gonna practice more. And the schedule is right there, so you can see it there. I don't want to bore you with just details, but the point is, it's gonna be a lot of immersion, a lot of like practicing, and also a lot of time of enjoying the beautiful nature and the spirit of the ashram. And after we're done, we'll have a yoga class, which I'm gonna teach as well. And I'm going to take you through this old school Shivananda Yoga Ashram sequence, not the ashram, but the Shivananda Yoga sequence that is very deep and taps into all the chakras from the crown of the head, the third eye, the throat, the heart, the stomach, everything. And then there's going to be dinner and lectures and meditation. So within that period of time, from the 11th to the 15th and to the 16th, which is the day after the program, you'll have an immersion of spirituality, of physical practice, of balancing, of knowledge. Really powerful experience. So if you ever wanted to join and start your journey into Qigong, Tai Chi, and yoga, and you're the type of person who is, I'm all in, I want to go, and this is a no-brainer. You come in, you come strong, and you'll leave with this fantastic experience.
And again, being an introductory course, we don't need to feel intimidated as to whether or not we've experienced Qigong and yoga before. The way that Shahar and I like to teach is very beginner friendly, very light, very informative. And I have to say, one of the things that I personally am looking forward to is the sense of community. All of us coming together, all of us being able to practice, but not only that, also be able to connect and get to know one another, right? I mean, as a therapist, I love being able to connect with people and have some deep conversations and maybe even get a chance to talk to you one-on-one a little bit about how we can integrate this into our lives. So the option is there, where everybody is available, and we're all in this together. And who wouldn't want to do it in such a beautiful experience such as Nassau in the Bahamas? Correct?
Right. And that's a great point, Michael, Brad, that I forgot to mention. I apologize, but yes, we will work with you privately. You'll have a private therapy session with Michael. We'll have a bunch of stuff together. We'll work together to help you. So again, if you're a beginner and you want to dive deep into not just practice, but understanding yourself and understanding how to communicate and balance your own emotions, then this is the opportunity to do that. So, okay, so we got the information. Now let's kind of start with the first question, which I'm assuming if you're here still with us, you're interested. What is Qigong? And why is that the tool to help us balance emotions? Okay, so that's why I'm here. I'm the Qigong expert. What is Qigong? The most simple way of putting it, it's a moving meditation. Right? That's really the simplest way. We move and we try to meditate. There's many ways to meditate. There's meditation where you focus on a singular point. It's called Vedanta meditation. We do that in the ashram. And there's Zen meditation when you kind of absorb what's happening in your body and you're just listening. And there's meditation through Qigong, which is creating tension and releasing of energy and following them with your mind. So that is the simplest way to put Qigong. Now, going a little deeper, Everything in life is a movement of potential energy. Meaning, you notice even right here, if you just sit as you are, you'll notice that you are in constant motion. Your heart is pumping, your lungs is moving, your stomach is moving, your shoulders, muscles contract. Just me doing this, my hand, just you looking with your eyes is constant electrical currents that's moving through your body. So we are living in a never-ending flow of movement. And within that flow of movement, we got to learn how to balance ourselves. And like I like to say to my students, we all are part of this river of energy called life. And we move from that on the energy on this river from the beginning all the way to the end of the river. And we know where the river ends. We know it ends at some point. And we're all going to be on it. Now the real question as a person, are you going to thrash in that river? Gasping, constantly fighting against it, trying to swim against it? Or are you going to learn how to cruise, enjoy the ride in a balanced state? And this is where Qigong comes in handy because it teaches us through movement and repetitive movements how to notice energetic changes that are happening in your body and how to correct them. So, for example, and Michael, you probably understand this one. If you are experiencing, for example, grief, if you're experiencing sadness, you will feel it in your lungs. For example, lungs tend to be shallow, posture tends to be inwards, and you become a little tight. You can drag your feet. You know, you see your body holds all these emotions in it. And Qigong teaches us how to open up the body and how to allow this grief as a physical manifestation of an emotion. Remember that. Everything that is happening here, you are perceiving, but will manifest in your body. And you can't just intellectually tell yourself, stop being sad. That doesn't work. If someone ever told you, hey, and I'm assuming, Michael, that's not how you treat your clients, right? Someone comes to you, hey, doctor, I feel sad. And you don't say to them, just don't. Just stop you and your whining. Doesn't work really well. If anything, it makes you even more aggravated. So Qigong teaches us the language of the body, which is really what we're talking about. The body has a different language than your neocortex, your cognitive mind. And not only has a different language, it speaks in two different speeds. The mind speaks really fast. The body speaks very slow. And Qigong teaches us how to let the mind follow the rhythm of the body rather than the opposite, which is what we usually try to do, is try to force our body to follow our mind. It doesn't work. And Michael, this is kind of your cue to talk about Qigong, your experience in Qigong, and how that inspired you in the way you help heal your patients.
Yeah, so just to kind of piggyback a little bit off of what Shahar was mentioning about that difference between the thought and your feelings, right? They teach us in our schooling for counseling, that we have a separation between our thoughts, our feelings, and our behaviors, right? They're not necessarily one thing. They're separate, right? It's one thing to think yourself out of a scenario. It's another thing to be able to feel yourself out of a scenario. In my experience with Shahar, when I started this practice, the more I got into it, the more I learned to listen to myself, I naturally noticed myself to stoke a little bit more of my flame, a little bit more of my fire energy, right? To get out there and
Yeah.
to promote myself and to build my business and things along those lines. But if I didn't incorporate that aspect of balance, I would have burnt myself out, right? So the entire time of being able to stay and forge ahead, it was a constant dance between what was I doing versus what I was receiving, and being able to just try to tap into some of the Qigong practice and bring it back into balance. And I love to, again, bring this into my therapy sessions, talking about balance, teaching some of the Qigong motions, teaching about the grounding, the stress management, just again, that aspect of feeling at one and centered, balanced, and how we can take that forward. And as Shahar mentioned, emotions stored within the body, right? We think of that with trauma. There's a really good book about that a lot of people know called The Body Keeps the Score, right? These traumatic experiences, these negative beliefs, these negative cognitions have a tendency to stash themselves somewhere within our body. That's when we feel that fight or flight, right? Those things get activated. We get those triggers, right? Something within our body reacts to something that reminds us of those experiences that we've been through, right? And some of my further practice to get a little bit deeper into it is doing EMDR therapy, being able to go back and process and reprogram and re-upload new beliefs in order to get through those negative beliefs. But a big part of that is the somatic responses, right? My own personal experience going through somatic therapy, I'm a pretty laid back guy. I learned that I store a lot of anger in my shoulder, right? So when I start to kind of feel that sensation in my shoulder, I know what I need to balance it out. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Shahar. I hear some sirens going on outside the window here.
Someone needs to learn some balancing, whoever they. So yeah, and we'll close with this one, and we're gonna do more videos and promote this more. So definitely keep following, subscribe, listen, reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to show you how to one, reach us, and two, and which I think is even more important, is do the program. Reach out. This is the best dive into the program and diving into this amazing, amazing world. And I'll finish with this thought. Like I said, giving you the same analogy of the river, think of a surfer, right? When you are out, just like Michael said, when he felt sort of tension in the body, anger, you can also ask yourself, okay, so why not just be angry? Why not be tense? Why not live your life tensing and fighting and exhausting yourself? Like, why not? All right. And the best answer I can give, I can't give you a scientific answer to why not. I can give you an answer of like, why not, right? When you're sitting, there's a difference between sitting in a garbage trash, in a trash bag, or in like a garbage can with the rats and the cockroaches and with stagnation and with the sand. Stagnation tends to, and again, I'm not comparing anyone who lives like that, like to garbage. I know it sounds like that, but that's not what I'm intending. But stagnation brings sickness. That's the point. That's why I use the example of the garbage can, because when something is still and rotting, it brings this decay energy to it. So if we're not progressing, if we're not developing, if we're not healing ourselves, if we're not balancing ourselves, we are in a state of an energetic and spiritual decay. Right? That's the natural aspect of human beings. And me, I don't know about what's the meaning of life. I don't know what's on the other side as much, but there's one thing I'm pretty certain, that we are biologically designed and inherently designed to make mistakes, learn from the mistakes, remember the mistakes, and move on and develop from them. And we are biologically designed to do that, because when we do that, we're very, very happy. We are very content. So now you're not inside this garbage can with the cockroaches and the rats, and that they're living their balanced life. Then sitting in front of a beach in the ashram in the Bahamas in the water with the sun, balanced with your emotions and nature. We're happy there. We're not happy there. That's how you can tell the difference. So why do we want to balance ourselves? Why do we even care? Is because that's what you're meant to do. You are meant to develop. You are here on this plane to learn, develop, grow, and when it's time to move on, you move on. That's the one thing I know for sure. Everything else, more speculation. But for sure, I know you're here to learn. And I know when we're not learning, and I know we are cynical, and I know when we give up, we stagnate, we decay, we become sick, we lose purpose, and we not only hurt ourselves, we hurt everybody around us too. So just like a surfer learns to balance himself or herself on a wave, that's how we learn to balance ourselves on this wave called life. So when life takes you one way, you learn how to press the foot and kind of lean into it. So you are riding the wave rather than fighting against the wave. And again, ask any surfer, there's no better feeling than the feeling of riding the wave rather than letting it throw you on the ground. Some people might enjoy that, but it's much more fun to ride it, I promise. Michael, any closing motion? Any closing motions? Yeah, I'm still in Qigong head. But the closing statement.
Closing motion to the throat, right? No, just that one final piggyback, and this is just one of the experiences you'll get is just this beautiful balance between the martial arts and the therapy. Shahar and I could talk for hours and trading ideas back and forth, but exactly with
And we
these just,
will.
I'm sorry.
And we will.
And we will for sure. But just to add one last little therapy, tidbit, if you will, to what Shahar was saying, sometimes we are used to feeling angry. Sometimes we're used to feeling down. We're used to conflict because up to this point, we've developed a certain baseline, right? We've survived up to this point through our experiences. And so sometimes those negative emotions can feel comfortable, right? As destructive as they may be, right? Where they create sickness for yourself, for your relationships, for others, for your mindset. The list goes on, right? But that sometimes is familiar to us. And ultimately, what this opportunity is to create a new baseline, right? To learn something new, to step outside of that, to do something a little bit differently, right? Because even though it might feel comfortable sometimes, or familiar is a better way, familiar, it's not necessarily comfortable, right? So, just my last little
Beautiful.
bit
The,
there.
the way, the way in the Shivananda organization, the way Swami Brahmananda or Swami Shivana, Swami Vishnudevananda, the way they describe it is you have a choice between the pleasant and the good. And sometimes the good is pleasant. Sometimes the good is not pleasant. But we always choose good over pleasant if you have to make the choice. Now, as part of me and Michael, we believe very strongly that Qigong and Tai Chi and these teachings not are only good, but they're also very pleasant because they teaches us how to live naturally with the universe. And when you live naturally with the world around you, it feels good. When you're not fighting the river, when you're not fighting the waves, it is pleasant. And all these things are very, very natural. And again, might not always feel like that because sometimes we get too stuck in our head. But the good is also pleasant. All right, but you always choose good, even when it's not pleasant. Okay, thank you very much, everyone that joined us, and be more than happy if you guys reached out to us. If you have questions, write down in the comment section. We'll be more than happy to address those. Reach out, like, subscribe, spread. If you want to learn more about this is the way to go. This is a no-brainer. Like, what are you doing? Come in.
Come join us.
All right, yeah. Thank you, Michael, for lending us your beautiful brain. You'll see more of me and Michael as we keep promoting, keep shooting more of these and sharing this knowledge and reaching out. And I have very cool news for you, Michael, but that's for after the video. This is not for you guys. That's just for me and Michael. So
Well, I'm
thank you very
excited.
much.
I'm excited already, and thank you, Shahar, obviously, for all of your knowledge and for our opportunity to really bring these two worlds together and to offer you, our listeners, our watchers, this wonderful, unique opportunity to begin your own journey of healing.
Let's go. Let's go. Thank you. You guys have a great rest
Bye.
of your day.